Are you looking for something new to learn this summer? In today's episode of Tech Coach Weekly, we're going to be diving into Microsoft's Power Automate, and we're going to show you guys how to make a Microsoft form do some pretty cool things. So stick around for this episode of Tech Coach Weekly. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Tech Coach Weekly. My name is Jeff Bradbury from the TEACHERCAST Educational Network, and with me as always is my co-host from the Ask the Tech Coach podcast, Sue Vincent. Sue, how are you today? Welcome back to another episode of Tech Coach Weekly.
Hey Jeff, it's great to be here today. What are we learning about today?
Well, Sue, today we're going to be looking at Power Automate. We're going to be taking you through the beginnings of Power Automate, and we're going to show you guys today how you can go from not just a Microsoft form, but through the entire automation process that's going to send out an email, make you a Microsoft list, and put that information into Microsoft Teams. So let's get right to it, and we're going to talk all about Power Automate. So here we are in Microsoft Forms, and you can see I've got a very simple form here. It's got two questions, the name and my favorite movie. And so what I want to do is I want to go to the back end of this form. Well, you'll see all of the different responses that have already come in. Now, if you're familiar with Google, you might think that the Open in Excel button is something that will connect your form to Excel. It doesn't really on the Microsoft world. If I click on this button, it will download an Excel file, but then if somebody new comes along and fills out the form again, you're going to need a second Excel file. So through this process, we're going to learn how to go from the form into a Microsoft list. We're also going to drop off the information in Microsoft Teams. And while we're doing it, we're going to send out an email. All of this stuff done through Power Automate. Now, the first thing that we do want to do is to create a Microsoft list. And we're going to actually do that by downloading this Excel file. And the reason why we're downloading the Excel file is so that way we can have a template to create our Microsoft list. And here we are in Microsoft Lists. What I want to do is I want to add a new list. And what I want to do is create a Microsoft list from that Excel document that I just downloaded. Now you can see that Microsoft List has brought in all of my Excel documents information. Remember that the form only had two questions to it. Those would be the ones here at the end, my name and favorite movie. It says name two only because it also pulls in the name of the person doing the form, their email, their completion time, their start time, and their ID. I don't want all of this stuff, but I do want these last two columns. So I'm going to make this the title. The title is always the most left column. And over here, I don't want any of this. So I'm going to click on do not import. All right, I think we have our import the way that we want it. Only these two columns. I'm going to click on next. I'm going to rename this list, choose a color, and I'm going to choose a cube icon here. I also want to choose which Microsoft team I want to associate this with. Here we are in Microsoft Lists. You can see that we've got everything here. I kind of like this list. I'm going to make it an important one. It brought in all of the data. Now, what I want to do is I want to connect the form to this because right now this data was populated from the Excel sheet, which means if I come over here and I create a new submission, nothing is going to happen between here. Now, in order to do that, I need to use Power Automate. Now, here we are in Power Automate, and if you're familiar with things like Zapier or if this, then that, Power Automate simply says, if something happens, do something else. And what we want to do is to say, when you submit a form, we're going to create a line in a Microsoft team. We're going to create a line in a SharePoint list, and we're going to send an email out letting somebody know that there was a new file submission. So I want to use the powerful templates in Power Automate, and I want to use a form, Teams, and SharePoint list. You'll notice that it gives me two different options. I want this one here, add a SharePoint item and post message to a team on Microsoft form submission. Now you'll see here at the bottom, it automatically connects with Forms, SharePoint, Teams, and Outlook. I'm going to hit continue. And here we have our recipe, if you will. What we want to do is we want to fill out the information to make our flow happen. What we want to do is we want to find the form, and we're going to do that by selecting our form below. We're going to get the response detail. This really has to be the same exact form. Next thing we're going to do is find the team where that Microsoft list was put. And inside of that Microsoft Team or SharePoint, we're going to be finding the list. All right, so we have our form, we have our form data, we have the team, we have the list, and what we want to do is we want to populate each of the fields and associate them with the columns in the Microsoft list. So over here we have title and favorite movie, and that goes with this one here, title and favorite movie. So what I want to do is I'm going to get rid of this, and automatically it's got some dynamic fields. So I want the name, and I want my favorite movie, because that's what's represented here in the form. Next thing I want to do is I want to figure out where I want this message to be posted in Microsoft Teams. So I've got my TEACHERCAST Educational Network team, and I'm going to put it in the TEACHERCAST podcast channel. And it's going to leave a message that says a new SharePoint item is created, but I can add anything that I want there. I can even add dynamic content to it. So I can say a new SharePoint item was created from, and then I can add the person's name who submitted it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send an email out to myself. So I'm going to type in my email address. And again, I can change the subject and change the body, but I'm not going to do that right now. And I'm going to hit save. So you can see everything is done now. I've got my form, I've got my form details, my site address, my list. I've put everything together. I'm going to post it onto this team in this channel with these words. And also I'm going to now send an email to myself with this subject and this information. Let's see if it works. And here I am on the left. I've got my form. I've got my team with the channel. I've got my list, and down here I've got the total number of responses. So if all goes well, I'm going to enter my information here. And when I hit submit, let's see what happens. Here comes the new item in Microsoft Teams. And here comes the new information on my important list. And you're going to notice here that everything is done with our correct response. So this is how you take a Microsoft form and add information directly into Teams, into a list. But there was one more thing that we were waiting to pop up for, and I think I heard it. And here it is. Here is our email that we got from hitting the form submission. So you can see everything here works, and it's pretty darn cool when it all happens. So, Sue, as you can see, there's a lot of things that you can do with Power Automate. What we just showed you is really the tip of the iceberg. There's an unlimited amount of things that you can do with Power Automate.
Yes, I'm so excited to delve into this and learn some more over the next few weeks.
So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash that like button out there. And don't forget to leave a comment. We want to know what you guys think about this channel. And we hope that you guys have a moment to check out all the great things on the TEACHERCAST Educational Network. And that wraps up this episode of Tech Coach Weekly. On behalf of Sue and everybody here in the TEACHERCAST Educational Network, my name is Jeff Bradbury, reminding you guys to keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.